Welcome to Let's Face the Facts, the rewatch podcast for the classic sitcom, The Facts of Life. Join us each week as we synopsize, analyze, criticize, and ultimately idolize the show. And now, here's your host of Let's Face the Facts, the wonderful David Almeida.
Thank you, Matthew Arter. Welcome back to another show. Thank you for downloading and pressing play. Ooh, got a bit of morning voice right now. Anyway, I promised you last week I was going to take some time off in between seasons, and here we are. This is it. We have a couple of special shows coming up over the next couple of weeks before we dive back in and begin Season 8. But at the last minute, I decided to add this one into the mix because I thought it would be fun to revisit the very first episode of the show. On Halloween, which was the 3rd anniversary of the podcast, I thought I hadn't listened to the pilot in a long time. I'm not sure if I've ever listened to it since the first time it dropped. So I popped it in, listened to it, and I enjoyed it so much. I sat there going, I need to share this. I think the other people, the tens of listeners, would also get a kick out of this in terms of listening to what the show was like at the beginning. And surprisingly, you're going to find it's not that different. It's really incredible how many things are sort of already there that we didn't know were already there. There are comments and observations and stories that we would go on to repeat dozens of times. I think the chemistry between me and Matthew was already very apparent, and it was just so much fun to kind of think back October 2018 when this whole journey was beginning. If you can get past my constant apologizing for the length of the show, then I think you're going to enjoy it too. Show length. Wasn't that cute when I was freaking out if it went over an hour? Oi. Now, one thing that has evolved a little bit is my sound editing skills. So I did pull up the original files and I was able to tweak the levels a bit. And actually, I think this is a better, cleaner listen than if you were to go back and listen to the original post. So why don't you consider this a digitally remastered Criterion collection of what we all know will be considered someday a classic? Yeah? Okay, sure. So, now, for you to enjoy in its entirety, a rerun flashback to Season 1, Episode 1 of The Facts of Life called Rough Housing, which had an original air date of August 24th, 1979. Let's face the facts for the first time with Matthew Arter. Hi, welcome to the first episode of Let's Face the Facts. I'm your host, David Almeida. I'm an actor in Orlando, Florida, and this is the podcast where I sit down with an actor or artist friend. We watch an episode of the classic 1980s sitcom, The Facts of Life, and then I hit record. We synopsize, we analyze, we hypothesize, contextualize, and very often criticize the show. This hopefully leads to other sidebar conversations about anything and everything entertainment, and hopefully you find it entertaining too. My guest for the very first episode is my friend Matthew Arter. He's a local theme park actor, a drag performer, a comedian. I've known him for almost a decade now. We've worked at some various theme park attractions together. I've been a fan of his Carol Channing tribute show and his drag alter ego, Carol Lee, who hosts Twisted Sisters Bingo at Hamburger Mary's in downtown Orlando every Tuesday night. And you can also find him performing wacky characters on the streets of one or two well-known theme parks. And I'm very lucky that I have quite often been able to do that right alongside him. He's also a very gifted singer and musician, and he's just one of the funniest people I know. And we had so much fun, and I'm apologizing in advance for how many times I snort laugh in this. It's just, anyway, it is what it is. The episode we viewed was the pilot, Season 1, Episode 1, called Rough Housing, Original air date was August 24th, 1979. Because it's the first show, Matthew did some research. I mean, he did it on his own. I was so honored he gave me that time. And as a result, we made a very deep dive, a pleasantly deep dive, into a lot of stuff around and about the show, but not about the episode itself. It's kind of just getting things started and ramping it up. Do not let this episode scare you away that it takes us almost 35 minutes before we start actually talking about the show. I promise in the future we'll get into shows a little bit better, but a little bit more quickly. And this is just a one-time thing. Maybe at the beginning of each season we'll kind of do something like this. So without any further ado, here we go. Let's get it started. Matthew Arter. So here I am in the studio with Matthew.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know you were going.
I'm going.
I'm here.
We've already started.
Oh.
We have just finished watching Season 1, Episode 1, the pilot, the one that started it all. Heaven bless.
Well, it really wasn't as terrible as you would think, was it?
Uh-huh.
I mean, you think of it and you're like, oh, that was terrible. But then when you watch, you're like, well, it's not that bad.
Yeah. I mean, it was okay.
Terrible.
Knowing what was to come, if it was this show and there was 9 years of this show.
Well, and that's why I think it's important to get a mindset of what was going on in the world at that time.
And I believe Matthew has come prepared and did some research.
I did.
You did. Now, you know, I listened to the My Favorite Murder podcast, and they talk about how, oh, we thought we're just two chicks talking about true crime. Let's do a podcast. And then they went, fuck, we have to do a book report every friggin' week. And so I'm glad I have no desire to do that. You've done my work for me.
Well, I feel like this kind of research that I did was for the whole season.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
That's fine.
Like, maybe I'll do this level of research for season 2.
Maybe.
You know what I mean? Like the premiere of season 2, just to find out what
Yeah.
was going on.
Maybe I need to have you back as the premiere as each season progresses.
That would be great.
I would love to do that.
So
talk to us.
Okay.
Let's journey back to August 24th,
Yeah.
1979.
79.
79 when I
Not
was...
even 80.
Huh?
Not even 80.
No.
79.
Yeah. Now, granted, only 4 episodes of this show aired in 1979.
Yeah.
There were
but
4
that
of them
means they were filmed when?
in the summer
79.
of 79. What I'm saying is, though, I call this a 1980s sitcom because
Sure.
of 201 episodes, 4 of them came out in 79. It's the 80s.
Yeah.
Culturally, didn't really become the 80s till about 83. But
Okay.
That's America. Talk to me.
Well, first of all, it's important to know, obviously, it's a spin-off of Different Strokes.
Different Strokes.
Which was only at the end of its first season.
Yeah.
So we'd only had 1 season of Mrs. Garrett, and fucking NBC was like, we fucking love her! Get her out of here!
Get her a show!
Get her off this sinking ship. So, and she had it written into her contract that if it failed,
she
could
come
back.
Mm-hmm.
Which is interesting again because it was around that time period where you had just watched Norman Lear spin off fucking everything.
Yeah.
So, like, she had seen Phyllis not do well.
Yeah.
And then suddenly Cloris Leachman's out of a job.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
Her friend, dear friend Cloris Leachman.
Her dear.
Funny I went to that one, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like foreshadowing. So they thought it would be a good idea to do a female version of Welcome Back, Kotter.
Is that what this was?
That's what this was.
Oh no.
A girl's answer to Welcome Back, Kotter.
But a private school, a privileged private upstate New York school versus an inner city. Was Welcome Back Kotter New York or was it like Chicago?
Yeah, or Philadelphia or something.
Was I
Boston, Baltimore.
It wasn't Boston. I know.
Where was it? I don't know.
Whatever.
Okay, Google.
Okay.
Where was,
Wait a minute.
So that's what the idea was, right?
That was the concept. Okay. Wow. This I did not know. So continue.
So NBC was in the shitter at this point.
There were only 3 networks, and it was number
4.
It was that bad. And it's so funny. This predates the 80s and 90s, particularly the 90s when suddenly Must See Thursday happened. And I mean, NBC ended up, but yeah, in the 70s, ABC was the giant. They had the Happy Days and Laverne and it's funny. They had the popular shows. They had the Happy Days, Laverne and Shirley, Three's Company, Love American Style, Charlie's Angels, $6 Million Man. CBS had the critically acclaimed shows. They had the Norman Lear shows.
Yeah.
Well, All in the Family was I bet you CBS had the Mary Tyler Moore show. They had the Carol Burnett show. I don't know. That's research I did not do, and I do not care to do. As far as ABC, I feel like it was ABC maybe by a narrow margin, but definitely NBC last. Fox.
I feel like it was CBS.
Not even was number one.
I feel like because it had All in the Family and
all the
stuff.
spin-offs. Maybe it was CBS. I could be wrong.
But I was trying to. I thought I wrote
as a kid.
down.
I mean, when my dad was a kid and watched TV in the 70s. Shut up. No, when I was a kid, the shows that appealed to me, I feel like I watched ABC more. So that's my egocentrism coming into it.
Damn it, I didn't write down, and I did look it up.
So NBC was last
I didn't write
place.
down what NBC's big shows were.
Oh, yeah. It was like Little House on the Prairie, maybe?
Like they were surviving on like certain shows. And
yeah.
Damn it,
I've seen a documentary and I know what you mean, yeah.
But like, I mean, they were up against shows like their opening night on ABC was Fantasy Island.
Yes, because Saturday...
huge hit.
Yeah, huge.
And their premiere episode against Facts of Life premiere episode was where Eve Plum plays a swimmer that was paralyzed in a car accident and comes to the island to get fixed. Peter Graves plays a clothier who is down on his luck and wants to kill himself so his family can have his insurance. Meanwhile, on CBS is The Incredible Hulk.
Oh.
Another, I guess, at the time, huge hit.
Oh, yeah. As was, they had Wonder Woman. 79 Wonder Woman was wrapping itself up at this
point. In this episode, David Banner befriends a rock star named Lisa Swan, who's being dominated by her manager.
Oh. So I'm going to turn into a green dude and beat him up.
So you had the choice between Eve Plum in a wheelchair, David Banner with the 1979 rock star, or Mrs. Garrett.
Mrs. Garrett.
Everybody's favorite from Different Strokes.
Yeah, I mean, not even a season. She has to have her own show.
On a show when the subject matter is lesbianism. So
yeah,
how could this not do well?
It had nowhere to go but up. But can we stop a moment?
It managed to, by the way, because it was 74th in the race.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Stop a moment.
We'll talk about later about how literally the show lasted. It made it into a second season literally because the brass at NBC said it's easier to fix a show we already have.
Correct.
Than to try and create, produce, and build a show from scratch. So it was just... Again, we are in the shitter. We have no money to produce a new show.
What do we got to lose?
Exactly.
Really?
It was exactly. And who would have thunk what it would eventually bring? But let's go back to Fantasy Island.
Okay.
These are the sidebar conversations I hope to have many, many of over the next 200 episodes. What the fuck? Well, that's all I have to say about Fantasy. What the... It's like, what's this dude's here? Well, Tattoo, he has always wanted to climb the tallest volcano in the world. And it happens to be here on the other side of the island.
And he has no legs.
But
we know he's got legs because it's Dick Van Patten playing that part. He's just sitting in a chair where the legs go into the bottom of the chair, and it's hilarious.
It was on... for so long, and I watched it as a kid, but again, we were kids. The stories didn't say. I think as an adult it would be unwatchable. When it's like Annette Funicello, she is a ventriloquist, and she is having trouble separating the personality of her puppet from her.
Who beats her?
Yeah, who beats her? And so then they bring, like Mr. Rourke, like your fucking travel guide can do. brings your marionette to life, and it's
Yeah.
Barbara Bach?
Yeah. And they never really explained how he had these powers or anything.
Yeah, Ken Reed, who does another podcast that I greatly admire, he says, I am 100% sure Mr. Rourke was the devil, even though they dressed him in white.
Well, there's that theory.
I'm not sure I could disagree.
Fantasy Island there's a whole theory about it where it's
hell
the
or purgatory.
7 layers of hell. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like people have way too much time in there to think that much into Fantasy
Yeah.
Island
It's
instead of important things like facts of life.
we have our priorities.
Clearly.
Bitch. Okay.
We don't need no stinking guest stars.
Yeah. So continue.
So,
What
okay.
else? What else?
Well, so leading into the hit shows of it's always important to give your new show a good lead in.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yes.
So on NBC, right before the premiere of Facts of Life, Roughhouse show, was Here's Boomer.
Here's Boomer, the dog show.
Yeah, the dog show.
And
it was like Highway to Heaven but with a dog. Like this stray dog comes out and just goes from town to town helping people. And it was like Batman level stars on as guest stars every week.
Well, that sounds like the Incredible Hulk, though, because that's technically what.
Is that what oh, that's right.
He would just
walk into the next town.
Yeah, he just walk into the next town and meet the next poor shit upon soul and help them out.
Yeah.
That's so.
And get angry.
Wow, here's Boomer.
And
I remember that. I never watched it, but I do remember.
It was like the TV version of Benji.
Yeah.
Is what he was.
Okay.
And you should really include a link to the opening credits of Here's Boomer.
I will do
because
so.
Because the song is just awful. It's celebrating.
I do requests.
It's celebrating the fact that
Here's Boomer theme. Okay, that is happening. All right. What else? Anything else you want to add to that?
Oh, and it's out, and the show that came on after it was the wonderful Pink Lady and Jeff.
Oh no! That was NBC.
That was the 10 o'clock.
Oh
time
my
slot
God!
On a Saturday night on NBC.
Oh no! And that was directly up against Cal Burnett. No, Cal Burnett had just gone off. Cal Burnett went off in '78.
Yeah, it would have been up against Family.
Probably. Asada Thompson, Christy McNichol.
Mork and Mindy.
Was
the big one.
Robin Williams, he was good.
On Wednesday nights, CBS did the Wednesday night CBS movie of the week.
Mm-hmm. Which was Julie T. Portrait of a Teenage Runaway.
Correct.
Or,
So, like, the other shows that were popular throughout the week at the time was, like, Laverne and Shirley was still going strong.
Oh, fuck yeah. I never missed an episode.
WKRP in Cincinnati.
A little more grown up for me, but I did watch it and enjoyed it.
Too. Hello, Larry. That steaming bomb from McLean Stevenson.
Daughter Ruthie, played by actress Michelle something. She's one of the Real Housewives now. She's married to the doctor on Botched. And she's one of the Real Housewives of Beverly
Terry
Hills.
Hatcher?
Kim Richards.
Oh.
Kim Richards played the daughter, and she was hilarious. She was a funny child actress.
Benson,
spin-off of Soap.
The wonderful Stockard Channing show.
You mean Stockard Channing Just Friends?
No. I see where you might find yourself confused. Stockard Channing
elucidate me.
In Just Friends was the show that was on the season before that they hated. So again, why not just bring this shit back? But let's give her a new name.
Okay.
Her neighbor, played by the same actress in the same exact role, a new name. It's gonna kind of change her life a little bit. Like she's now completely divorced instead of going through a divorce.
Okay.
But she's a different character. It was kind of
so
like
they
the
basically
Lucy show to I Love Lucy. It's like, we get it. You're still Lucy and Apple.
Yeah, or the Lucy show into Here's
Lucy exactly.
Oh, okay.
So the Stockard Channing show was the reboot, and it had the same theme song.
And she was so Grease was 1978.
That's all she had done, though.
She had done a fuck ton of stage work and was very respected. But Grease catapult. Stockard Channing was huge, and rightfully so. She is amazing. I've never seen a better performance of a 32-year-old playing a high school senior.
Yeah, I was so worried.
She was the oldest.
So worried about getting pregnant. I'm like, she can't get pregnant. Don't worry, Kaneki. You're fine. Leave it in.
Yeah. We're approaching the 15-minute mark, and I just want to say it is not my intention to go this deep. This is just for...
I'm sorry.
No. To go this deep in future episodes. So if you're thinking, oh, fuck, I'm not going to be able to sit this out. This is just a season... This is a season opener. Matthew, you are now our Facts of Life historian. I have officially hired you for that. So we're going to continue with this.
I'm now ready to talk about the cast.
Okay. Are you ready? Well,
but anything else?
Talk about Kim Field's 10 auditions, and then we'll move down the list of...
She's the only black girl that auditioned, apparently.
Really?
That's what they said. Tootie wasn't written to be a black character, but she was the only black girl that auditioned.
Wow.
Can you imagine that?
Yeah. And she was almost not hired because she was too young. She is 10 years old on this show. And one of the reasons why they put her on roller skates, not just because they were racist, but also because they were literally thinking, how do we make this little tiny child taller and look like she belongs in this throng? And that's exactly what the tactic was. But she was a very decorated commercial actress. I gotta find the Mrs. Butterworth commercial. I remember her very distinctly. Mrs. Butterworth, I love you. And the animated Mrs. Butterworth going, oh. So I'm writing a note, Mrs. Butterworth commercial. I'll put this up on the blog as well. Okay, tell us what else about the girls. Let's do a rundown.
Oh well, I just have that Nancy,
Julie Pekarsky.
Julie, no, Felice Schlatter. Schachter. She was
the one with the long dark hair.
Yeah. Just a lovely actress. Her line readings just give you hope.
Yeah.
She auditioned to be Dana Plato's part in Different Strokes.
Oh, I think I do remember that. Yeah.
So she was kind of in the loop at NBC for child actresses.
And with the Norman Lear, Dick Clare, Jenna McMahon machine. Okay.
And she went on to do the movie Zapped.
Was she in the movie Zapped?
The wonderful Scott Baio.
And Willie Ames.
And now she's a special ed teacher in New York.
Oh.
Quit acting. Darn it.
What? She quit acting so that she could work with mentally challenged and disabled people.
Yeah.
It's not as far a leap as you might think.
Julie Pekarsky. She's the one that plays Sue Ann, the one with the long blonde hair, not Lisa Whelchel with the long blonde hair. Who was Blair. The other pretty
This is the other one with the long blonde hair, who is not Julianne Haddock. The other one, the other one with the long blonde hair. It's like...
I'm missing a page. I swear to God.
Well, we also want to point out in the opening theme of this, for those who aren't actually watching the episodes and are just listening here, in the opening credits, they show all the girls and they show their characters' names in quotation marks. So it says, Julie Pekarsky, quote,
As
Nancy. See, I can't even keep them straight. And then it says Lisa Whelchel, quote, Blair.
Yeah.
It's one of those we can't keep track of them either. We're hoping we can help. We're going to give you some cliff notes and maybe you can sort it out. And no. Continue.
The wonderful Natalie Green. Mindy
Cohn.
Who is now the voice of Velma. On
Scooby-Doo, yes.
Which I don't watch the new Scooby-Doos because they're awful.
And she's
lovely.
I have not seen them.
What's her guts?
She was a student at a girls' school.
Yeah.
Somewhere outside of Hollywood. And when they brought them, I saw an interview with her, and they brought them in just to talk to them and get kind of a sense of the thing. And Charlotte Rae went, she is delightful and hilarious. You should write a part in this for her. I think the subliminal message is we don't have a fat girl in the show yet.
But you look at her in that first episode, I wouldn't look at her and go, oh, she's the fat girl.
Yeah. No, not really. She's
12.
Yeah, exactly. But she certainly is different and looks different. And I think that's what made her, because she was going to a private girls' school. And I'm sure the other girls look like the girls on this show. They were the rich, pretty girls.
All right.
Yeah, I imagine so. And I feel like I'm not...
just your fantasy of what it would be like?
to be
When
a
you touch
Barbie
yourself
doll.
at night, thinking about-
Dreaming of the Barbie doll teenagers in a
Got it.
private girls' school, that would be a no.
Okay.
But anyway, so Mindy Cohn was a completely 100% inexperienced actress, and you can see it. They've talked about it in the documentaries that you see her trying to resist cracking up and laughing at her own jokes when the audience laughs. But to her credit, she develops a razor sharp comic sensibility by season 2.
She really does. And like there's some episodes where she just gets some great line deliveries in that are so perfect. Like my favorite ever episode comes later when she's got the lightning bolt hat
Oh
on.
my God. Oh, the overnight. Yes, that's one of my favorites too.
She says,
That's the final exam. Yeah.
she goes,
The final.
Tootie, you hit me with that pillow one more time. And she said something. And she answered, she's without a beat. It's on.
It's on. Yeah. He's like, I hate that hat. She's like, Tootie, how many times I'd go there? These are my brainwave conductors. And it's her commitment to explaining her quote unquote thinking hat that we've never seen before.
I just
God, I
love her.
cannot wait to get to that episode. That is one of my all-time favorite. And you want to know why we love that episode?
Why?
It takes place only in the bedroom. It never goes outside the bedroom. It is a play. We like the theatricality of it because we are in fact theater people. Just throwing that out as a theory. So yes, you bring up the girls and then I talk about them for 10 minutes. So let me let you talk about them.
That's what I was going to say. I'm leading you into it. So, Molly Ringwald.
Never heard of her.
You would never. Whatever happened to her?
I know.
You would think by watching it though, and the girl who plays Nancy in the first episode, the whole episode revolves around Nancy. When the rumors were going around that there were going to be some changes.
Yeah.
She didn't think she was going to be cut because there had been so many plot points around her character. She found herself to be a main
Nancy
character.
or Sue Ann? Were we talking?
The lesbian.
Sue Ann is the
No, Sue Ann is the pretty one. Isn't she? Wasn't Sue
Is
Ann
it?
the pretty one?
Oh God, Cindy. Cindy's the tomboy.
Okay.
So the wonderful Julie Ann Haddock.
Yeah.
How did she not make it in show business?
Well, she thought that she was safe because there were so many plot points around her in the first season.
And
So she didn't think that was going to happen to her.
She did an episode of Wonder Woman.
Felicia Schachter.
Schachter.
She was the first one hired and the first one fired.
Gee, we work for theme parks. What is that like? We've never experienced that in our
I'm
careers.
just picturing it, like people leaving the trailer, like, I ain't getting nothing. And I think that's it, isn't it? Shall we talk about the episode, or you have more about the girls?
Well, we can, since this is the beginning one, we're starting this dive. We can spend. I'm comfortable spending a little more time, but again, I'm warning and pre-apologizing for it, like I do, because I'm an apologist. But no, in future we're just going to get into the episodes. But this is a big deal.
How awful the show is.
Yeah.
20 minutes in.
And okay, to love something is to be critical of it. I love this show. Facts of Life.
Or this one that we're doing now.
The Facts of Life.
Okay.
Yeah, this one not so much, but we are going to be critical of the show. We're going to, for lack of a better term, rip it to shreds.
Okay.
But know we're doing so lovingly. And what was the other thing I wanted to say when you were talking about the girls? And there's too many of the girls. I just want to say in general, as you watch the delivery of the lines, and like you said, the line readings, even this early on, you really can already see the standouts. You're already like, yeah, Tootie is 10 and she's a little better than the rest. And Lisa Whelchel is, I mean, you commented, you were like,
she's just beautiful.
It's just, I mean, gorgeous, but clearly, again, former Mouseketeer in the Mickey Mouse Club reboot.
She'd been trained by almost as close to the old studio system as you could get.
She knew the 9 old men, I'll bet you.
She knew what it meant to go back to 1.
And yeah, probably the wild card in there is Mindy Cohn, but you look and you're like, if you said, who of these girls are going to make the cut? If a big cleansing was about to happen, if we were about to have a bloodbath from casting handed down, who is going to last and who's not? It's like Lisa Whelchel, absolutely.
Sure.
There. And I think Kim Field's appeal and charm in her youth, I think she's right there. Probably the wild card would be Mindy Cohn, but even that, it's like compared to the girl, the reading of the lines. Oh my God, Blair knows he's a really cute boy, and he winked at me.
Yeah.
There's just, oof.
There was no warmth to that, was there?
Yeah, we missed it. It was a little bit lacking. Anyway, it's fun to be at this point of revisiting the show and starting this journey and going back, going, wow,
Yeah.
where it journeyed to and where it morphed and switched, and it's really bizarre. And sadly, these episodes, these first 13, this is going to be a slog because they are not good.
Well, but it's interesting to watch. I mean, while the show's not great, but it's interesting. I was watching it tonight when we were watching it, I'm thinking, okay, it's 1979. It's a girls' school, and they've made the choice to have a relatively young man as the headmaster.
Mr. Bradley.
Mr. Bradley, who comes in, he's not unattractive by 1979 standards.
No,
you know,
he's a solid 7. Yeah.
and he comes in and he's the one that wants to shake things up. He's the one changing the curfew, while this woman, who wants to keep them back in the well, I guess the 1930s. If she said it's been around for 50 years, the 1920s.
When the 30s, when she was a child.
But she's like got this overbite, and I looked her up too. She ain't done nothing.
Oh, I thought she had a lot of like little character roles.
Yeah, that's exactly
spread out
it.
over a long,
Yeah.
So she's still alive. She's still out there.
Is she?
She was on.
Well, she's still got those teeth.
You can't miss them.
That's my favorite thing about watching these shows from that time period. People had their original teeth. And like not everybody had perfect teeth.
Yeah,
you see that now on TV. Everybody's got perfect teeth.
Yeah, it's
Mrs.
like
Garrett's got some jacked up grill. Her tiny little dwarf teeth. Teeth.
All right, so we're getting into the episode stuff now, and we'll come back to this whole Mr. Bradley thing, and again, you're watching it going, dude, you're not long for this world.
No,
but
and we didn't research who replaced him.
Yeah, there was a later, but we don't need to know that. Let's live in the here and now. Let's live in the moment.
He's the headmaster right now.
We start with the original version of the theme song, and it's actually a longer version of the original theme song because we have the extra credits for the different Strokes cast because we got to make sure we get that tie-in. So in the opening credits, Conrad Bain, Dana Plato, Todd Bridges, and Gary Coleman all have a credit like they're on this show. Or does
they
it say
got special guest stars?
They are special guest stars.
But you have to imagine that they're trying to promote this show as best they can between here's Boomer and Pink Lady and Jack.
They're like, we're saving our friggin' network or we're next.
They take their one other hit, Different Strokes,
and
they put in the fucking TV guide that you bought every week.
Mm-hmm.
With special advertising in there that says Facts of Life with everybody's favorite Arnold. It's gonna be on it, so you gotta watch.
And we did, and America did.
No, they didn't. It was 74th in the ratings.
Somebody did. Okay, so we start with that. The opening, this version of the opening theme,
sung by the girls.
No,
that's what it said.
No,
that's what it said. The girls were the singers, and Mrs. Garrett.
No, I don't. Based on their acting talent, I don't believe for 1 second they sing that well.
Did you hear the music? Did you hear
I hear Mrs. Garrett. We do let Charlotte Rae sing since she is a musical comedy star of yesteryear.
Little Abner.
Playing Little Abner and the B. Arthur production of Three Penny Opera on Broadway. She was the original Mrs. Peachum. And she is on the recordings. Pull that up on Apple Music. Or maybe I could put that on the website. God, there's a lot of God, this is becoming work. I don't think this was a good idea.
You can also find some of her stand-up, her early stand-up.
Oh, yes.
On YouTube.
Yeah, a lot of that. You know what? A lot of that has been making the rounds right now because we did just lose Charlotte Rae.
Dead.
We lost her 3 weeks ago. It's still very
very raw.
Very raw. Still raw.
I wouldn't mention it to Nancy McKeon if you talked to her.
You know what? I have a date to call her next week, and I will not say that. So I believe the opening theme is just Gloria Loring's voice overlaid to sound like several voices. because it does kind of sound like it. It might just be studio singers, but I thought it was still Gloria Loring, who would be the one that would record the later seasons and who co-composed the song with her husband Alan Thicke of
the Night.
Well,
his talk show.
Growing Pains? What was his show?
Yeah, Growing Pains.
Growing Pains.
Oh yeah, he did Growing Pains too.
Yeah. And
Also
Gloria
Thick of the Night.
Thick of the
talk
Night.
Show.
Yeah. And the Thick of the Night,
Ooh.
the euphemism Thick of the Night with Gloria Loring produced Robin Thicke. She is the mother, Alan Thicke and Gloria Loring, who divorced after this. They are not
Because of this song, I think.
Because they and they wrote the Different Strokes theme too, but they never sang it. But that's, again, it's all part of that same family. So Gloria Loring, if you look at her early stuff, which I will be putting up on the website, she is an extraordinary singer. And in the late 60s, she was like the new Barbra Streisand. She was like that new kid that sang older songs but had a killer voice. She is...
Was she the new Barbra Streisand, or was she the new Helen Reddy? Or like Melissa Manchester?
Were they
I don't know
around
that
in
she
the late
was
60s?
Barbra Streisand. Was she?
Well, no. What I'm saying is
She like
the
Mimi
hook...
Hines?
The hook of Barbra Streisand was that in the early 60s, she was that kooky, odd-looking kid in her thrift store clothes who was 18 years old on television. And in the early 60s, she wasn't singing rock and roll. She wasn't singing that new, loud, noisy shit the kids were listening to. They're singing the songs that we like. She's singing Johnny Mercer and all the, Rodgers and Hart stuff. So what I'm thinking of is just from the standpoint of the super talented young singer that was not going the route of, I'm singing the young people tunes. I want to be a pop singer.
Got it.
Like Sonny and Cher.
Gloria
Loring. Anyway, I'm going to post some of her performances, and she is magnificent. I'm a super huge...
You're a huge Gloria Loring fan.
Belated 40 years too late Gloria Loring fan. And she's, I think...
Like having a best friend named Marky Post.
Jesus. Okay, let's get to this fucking episode now.
Okay.
Now we're just...
Scene one.
Scene one, page one. Let's do a P.L. Travers and say,
Yeah.
Interior house. Is that true? Should we have the house in the interior? Okay, they're preparing for the harvest fair. Yay! A big event is happening. So we've got things happening.
Things. So Mrs. Garrett's so
arrangements.
busy, you guys.
They're arrangement things. And among the arrangements is a pig. And in comes Cindy.
Lesbian.
No, she is not a lesbian. She's a tomboy.
She's a tomboy. Sorry.
She's the tomboy. She's got her
She's the
hair
one-
up in a baseball cap.
Everybody thinks is Daryl Hannah.
What?
What?
Say that again?
She's the one everybody thinks is Daryl Hannah.
I don't know what
If you thought of Daryl Hannah when she was around that age, that's what you think she looked like.
Julian
think
Hedrick
she-
could have doubled for
They
Daryl
think-
Hannah.
A lot of people think she was Daryl Hannah. Her acting level is about the same.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
She shows up and she's in charge of the games at the
Yeah.
Harvest Moon.
Yes, and the pig
Cindy.
games and pig.
Pig.
So that sort of tomboyish. I'm walking around in a baseball shirt and I'm holding an animal and my hair's on my head and oh wow, what that's
My hair's on my head.
Yeah.
Like a lesbian.
And then before we have a chance to blink, in comes Mr. Drummond and Mr. Drummond and Willis and Kimberly. Kimberly, who in the backdoor pilot of this show on Different Strokes was a student at Eastland.
On Different Strokes was a student at Eastland.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. On the TV show.
Was she
Like,
always?
not just on the pilot. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was just suddenly a thing of at the end, like, oh, by the way, Kimberly is it? I don't remember season 1 that well.
Of Different Strokes.
I didn't watch a lot of it.
Every single time Mr. Drummond talks to Arnold, it sounds like he's going to molest him.
No, stop.
I swear to God.
There is a very special episode where they're like, he and, what was his friend's, Dudley?
Dudley.
When Arnold and Dudley, and he gets tied up in like a bike shop and molested. It was like,
Oh.
it was like, what the fuck is happening? It was like the Edith Bunker rape episode.
Yeah.
You're like, what is happening on my show?
First, the AIDS on Mr. Belvedere episode.
I'm not laughing at AIDS.
No, you can't help it on this episode. Have you watched it?
Cameron, our friend Cameron Francis at work found the clip by accident.
There's a whole thing after this which I'm going to show you on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, we'll be posting the Mr. Belvedere AIDS
episode.
And we probably shouldn't go any...
It's hilarious.
Let's read. We're going to do a dramatization right now. Okay? Hey, Bartholomew, how are you?
Well, must not be too bad. I've got AIDS. I don't remember at all what he said. I'm sorry.
So wrong. It's
so Mr. Drummond shows up.
So back to Mr. Drummond, and they show up.
And he makes a point of mentioning her contract.
Yeah,
where he says,
Mrs. Garrett, I really think you have to come back. And
if this doesn't go well, you can come back.
Yeah, you can come back. Yeah, basically saying...
Little does she know that they're going to replace her with What's-Her-Pussy and never mention her again.
And Pearl?
Pearl was the third one.
The second one was the little silver-haired one that was Aunt Iola on All in the Family.
Belle?
Belle.
No. Belle was on Alice.
Belle. That was Diane Ladd on Alice, yeah. I don't remember what her name was, but she was the little tiny one with the huge waddle and the hair on the top of her head. She was Edith Bunker's Aunt Iola. And that episode, because every episode of All in the Family was a message episode. That message was, she's alone, we have to ask her to live with us. And she's like, I got a boyfriend and we fuck.
Oh.
You know, it was one of those, what? Old people fucking? What is happening? My world's... I've entered crazy town. You know, it was...
That was the thought process when people watched the Edith Rape episode.
Yeah.
Like, what? He's hard for Gene Stapleton?
No. Stop.
I don't understand rape.
No. Rape is not... Oh, my God. So... But everything builds up to, so we've got to talk about Mrs. Garrett. Mrs. Garrett, you can always come back here, you know, so I can mumble through my lines to you.
You sound just like Conrad Bain.
And it's like he's here.
It's like he's here.
Yeah, I watched a lot of Maude, too. Finally, it all builds up to the arrival of Gary Coleman. That's really what all of this is all about. This is the thing we absolutely had to have in this episode. Gary Coleman, otherwise known as Arnold,
NBC's hottest star.
He was
at the time. It was like having Michael Jackson on your show.
It was. He was the cast of Friends of his day.
It was
he
like
was
having
all
Jerry
six.
Seinfeld walk on.
It was exactly. He was the Jerry Seinfeld of the time, and I will say, God, he is adorable. You really cannot discount the cute factor that because of his stunted growth, for whatever reason they say is or not related to his kidney problems when he was a kid, but he is so fucking cute.
Cute as a button.
And we did look up his age. He is 11 years old here, so he's actually older than Kim Fields.
Yeah.
But he's just...
he looks 5.
He's exactly. And that's like, could there be...
Did they ever establish, was he playing 5?
No.
Or was he like 11 and just stunted growth and they just never mentioned it?
Yeah. No, they did do an episode where he went to a doctor and it was kind of a, when am I going to start to grow? When am I going to start to grow? And the doctor did come in. It was a female doctor and she said, Arnold, you are going to grow to be 5 feet tall. Like that was a big blow to him. Like, I'm not going to be tall. That's when I quote unquote start to grow. That's as far as it's going to get. I'm never going to be big people size.
Oh, even worse. You're going to spend the rest of your life saying, no, I won't say what you're talking about, Willis. Oh, she just told him that.
Yeah.
He could have ended it right then.
Yeah. No.
That would have been a very special episode.
No. Anyway, and... once again, thanks to the OK Google in my living room, we did check to see Gary Coleman, who died very young at the age of 42. He ended up growing to 4'10", did it say?
5 feet tall.
No, I said 5 feet tall is what they said on the TV show, and the Google told us he didn't even make it that far. I feel like it said he was 4'10".
Okay.
Is how tall he grew. And, anyway, super duper cute. We're 11 years old. And his reason for showing up late is he's hiding out in the car because coming to a girls' school, the girls, for lack of a better term, molest him.
Yeah.
I'm talking about he's constantly being pinched and tickled and squeezed. And, I'm not a fan of non-consensual molestation, but I totally understand.
Are you a fan of consensual molestation?
Consensual molestation?
Okay. Sure.
I'm not sure that's technically molestation.
All right.
But what I'm saying is, you look at that kid, knowing he's 11, you're like, yeah, that's kind of wrong. But if he was 4 or 5, if he was a toddler, I get why people would be like, oh, you're so cute. Can I pick you up? Can I? I mean, he was.
But even at 11, when you look at him, you don't know he's 11. You're like, oh my God, I want to eat your cheeks.
Yeah, they're
not your butt cheeks.
No,
your cheeks.
No, I didn't infer that at all.
But yeah, he's goddamn adorable.
He is adorable. So his arrival in this episode is like, yes, we needed that. We needed this cute factor. Especially because we were young gay boys watching this and the girls weren't doing nothing for us.
And even Todd Bridges wasn't doing it for me at that time.
No, Todd Bridges, the only living remaining cast. That's not funny.
It's funny.
When Charlotte Rae died, he tweeted, R.I.P. my entire cast.
Well, Mary Jo Catlett's still alive, you asshole.
Oh. Well, I'm going by Todd Bridges. What he said.
I'm saying it's not calling you an asshole. I'm calling Todd Bridges. Mary Jo Catlett probably saw that tweet and was like, "You fucking dick."
And by the way, we do know somebody related to Mary Jo Catlett.
We do, and every time I open old Hello Dolly program, I take a picture of it and send it to him.
Oh yeah,
because she was in the original Broadway production of Hello Dolly.
Whom did she play?
Ernestina.
Shut up.
I'm up.
I did not know that. Mary Jo Catlett.
Mary Jo Catlett.
Wow.
Did it like forever. Did it with Ethel Merman. Did it with everybody. Yeah.
With Pearl Bailey.
Yeah. Well, no, not Pearl Bailey.
Oh yeah. They didn't just give her some extra makeup or something.
Even then.
1965. I'm sure they would have been like, it's just one girl in blackface.
Yeah.
On the show. Who's gonna notice? We have. It's very early to go that much of a deep delve into my inappropriate comedy and start using inappropriate words for comedic, ironic purposes. We're just going to stay with that. So we have gotten exactly 4 minutes into this episode.
Oh, my God. Okay. Well,
okay.
We fast forwarded.
So, and Mrs. Garrett does say, oh, Mr. Drummond, I'll be back. I just need to... So even she didn't think the show was going to work out. Well, yeah. Even she was like, oh, fuck, no, this is not going to work. So Blair is the first to make some type of an observation about Cindy. And
well, because Cindy's trying to get her rope around her ankle.
What did I miss?
Cindy's trying to tie Blair's leg up.
Oh, okay.
For the teacher how to do the tug of war thing.
Oh.
And she's got her ankle in her hand. So this leads to Cindy's foot fetish that we hear so much about later on.
It never stops.
No. But she tries to tie her up. She goes, "You're strange."
Yeah. She uses the word.
First time she says strange.
She uses it 3 times.
Yeah.
3 times throughout the episode, the word that Blair uses is straight. You're strange.
Yeah.
Because you're tomboyish and you're talking, you do things that boys do and all that. Anyhow, so that's the first time we drop the word strange. Mm-hmm. Then enter Mr. Bradley and Miss Mahoney. God bless.
Is that her name?
Miss Mahoney, yes.
Oh, that overbite.
Yeah. If she sneezed, she'd bite herself in the chest.
It looks like Mimi Hines walked in. That's 2 Mimi Hines references.
Wow.
You're welcome.
Bravo, sir. But yeah, so we were talking about this before, that we are, these are new characters, new show, so we're quickly establishing Mr. Bradley is the new headmaster, and he's here to shake things up, but he's also a bit of a bumbling buffoon.
Yeah. He doesn't know the rules for girls.
Yeah. And very quickly we establish he wants to, because of the festival, he thought, let's be lenient and Leighton, find a word for me. Let's make the curfew later. Mm-hmm. Miss Mahoney, on the other hand,
has a bet.
No.
But this is after Molly Ringwald kind of schools him on the fact that they are women.
They're women, yeah. If you could... Right. If you could smell and synchronize your period to ours, you would understand that, Mr. Bradley, but you cannot. So the deal is, we quickly establish, oh, okay, Miss Mahoney is the traditionalist, and we're positioning her and Mr. Bradley as the upstart, as the renegade that's gonna mix things up, and we've got conflict now.
Yeah.
Because we're probably not going to get that out of Charlotte Rae. She's there for the warm fuzzies.
She's there for the very long camera shots, waiting to go to commercial, where she's not really sure how to react to.
You're making me snore. Yeah, it's one of those.
That was a really long.
That was awkward.
Shot.
We'll get there. We'll get there. We're getting ahead of ourselves. What else do we have to cover here? There is a harvest dance, and there will be a harvest queen. Mm-hmm. And Blair has previously been voted harvest queen. And when it is brought up that, perhaps Cindy would like to compete for that or go to the dance. Mm-hmm. And she's like, well, I don't have clothes because all I have is jock straps or whatever. So they quickly come up with and Natalie makes a comment. I have a dress that you could borrow. My mom bought it for me and it was the wrong size. And, well, I grew out of it before I could grow into it.
Yeah.
That's probably the closest thing to a fat joke they ever do, because Mindy Cohn herself, and this is absolutely something to commend it, they never did a show about Natalie being fat. There was never a fat thing or an outfit she couldn't fit into or whatever. They never, ever treated Natalie as the fat girl. She was just one of the girls.
She just was.
Yeah.
You could see it.
And that's like, and in this era, 79 to 88, it's like, fuck, that was not a good time for fat women.
No.
And well, we find more of that in episode 2 as far as pretty shaming, and we'll be getting into that next episode. So we once again refer to Blair calls Cindy strange because she thanks Sue Ann for helping her to get ready.
And molests her.
And says, I love you.
Yeah. While she's in mid-hug and mid-orgasm, I think. She's humping her.
I don't think she's climaxing. Okay. I don't think so. Not at all.
The alarm clock didn't go off until later in the episode.
Yeah. Oh, dear. So then... Mrs. Garrett, romance, Arnold, girl problems. Okay, so from this we now go to the next scene, which is up in Mrs. Garrett's room, where she has a sewing machine.
Sure she does.
Like you do.
What else is there to do? There are only 3 channels.
She's a den mother.
She's a den mother.
She's a den mother who also has the credentials to be a nutritionist, we find out in 13 more episodes.
Yeah.
Like you do. I'm a housekeeper. I clean toilets.
Yeah.
I'm qualified to watch girls at school, and I'm qualified to create a menu to nourish our children.
And she made a pretty low-cut dress for Cindy.
Well, she was altering Natalie. It was a Natalie dress, remember?
Yeah.
So she was altering it to fit her. But in this scene, she's talking to.
We find out that Miss Mahoney ain't got none in a while.
Mahoney, and they have positioned. I know. Get yourself off the floor for this shocking twist that is Miss Mahoney and Mr. Bradley, who are at complete odds with how they want to run the school. There also might be a romantic spark there for them.
Yeah.
So, wow. If I can think of a less appealing will they or won't they arc, I think this would qualify. I can't think of one less. No.
And just, you think they're working really hard to keep so many people employed. Like in this first season. It's like, like the writers had to be like, this isn't worth it.
Yeah.
Like, we don't, we stop writing for these two?
I need to, it's like,
what are we going to do with them? Just get rid of them. Don't explain it. Just
here's the first draft of the episode. Half of the characters don't have lines. It's like, we can't. It's like, and this was, and another little sidebar. This is before the day of A story and B story. This is where, I believe till its last episode, Facts of Life was a show where we had one story per episode. Rarely did we ever, maybe we did later on.
Very minor little mentions.
Yeah, but not like to the level that Friends and Seinfeld, not where TV evolved as a medium. This was one story, one episode. So it's like we have one linear...
Golden Girls kind of the same way. Like there would be a mention of a side story, like Sophia's you know.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it would, like, yeah.
Yeah. And of course, the challenge.
Sophia's got a job, and she's got a reason to walk through the kitchen twice in the show.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it wouldn't be,
had
we never
nothing
see
to do
her at the
with
job.
anything. Yeah.
Yeah, there were Friends episodes where they never saw each other. Like,
Right.
there's one where Chandler's locked in a kiosk for an ATM. Like, it won't unlock, so he's stuck in there with a pretty woman. And the entire episode is how does he talk to this pretty girl? And that's the whole thing. And then we cut over and, you know, Rachel and Ross and Monica are doing their thing. And then Phoebe and Joey are doing another. I mean, Friends was, they had fewer characters on Friends, and we got
And more plot.
minimum of 3 storylines, which, I mean.
Watched Friends.
What? You never watched Friends?
I was supposed to be. I auditioned for it.
You did?
Lisa Kudrow got the part.
She did?
She slept with the directors.
Oh, no.
And the camera guy and the script guy.
Stop.
And Ross and Rachel.
Wow. At the same time. Anyway, so I'm going to point out the fact that A story, B story was not a thing here. No. So they had one linear story, 7 girls, Mrs. Garrett, Mr. Bradley, Miss Mahoney, and in this episode, we also had to have lines for Mr. Drummond, for Gary Cole, for Arnold and Willis. It was like, holy fuck!
Because we're paying them overtime to do this.
They're the best paid ones on this damn.
They are.
Gary Coleman is gonna break that. We can't use Gary. We have to. His salary is double everyone else's combined.
It's true. It's true.
Back to the whole, we have too many, I don't think we can overstate.
This wasn't even an attempt at a B plot line as much as it was quote unquote character development, that scene in there. Just to show, like, I guess the adults watching that, like, oh, don't worry, wink wink, there's going to be adult situations.
It's going to be more than periods and boy crazy stuff.
Oh, right.
We actually never did, they never did go for the menstrual, I don't think. And probably for the better that they didn't.
No, that was that time that Mrs. Garrett asked Blair if she was riding the cotton pony. Oh, no, that was Mama's Family.
That was on Carol Burnett, and that was a blooper. That's an outtake. So, we go to... Sue Ann and Tootie. It's like, oh, good. We can have 2 girls come in and tell Mrs. Garrett that Cindy is upset and in a room. That's lines for 2 more of the girls.
Yep.
So in comes Sue Ann and Tootie on her roller skates. And they're like, Cindy's upset and she's in a room. So Mrs. Garrett goes in to her room to be, again, what Charlotte Rae does best. Charlotte Rae is so... I'm not being ironic here when I say, when it comes to the nurturing, motherly, holding it close to my bosom, I mean, she is so good at that. Mm-hmm. I think better at that than delivering some of the comedic lines. But, you know, I don't want to speak ill of the dead. So what Matthew referred to earlier is, you know, she's like, what are you upset about? She's like, well, all the things that Blair said, or that. Maybe I'm not normal. And then we have to have a cutaway reaction shot of Mrs. Garrett. And then we need to hear the dubbed-in clap of the audience and the slow fade to commercial, because they faded out back in these days to commercial. It wasn't
days.
And so it's a long clap and a long fade, and therefore...
Where the writer's like, we got nothing. This is going to be a 30-second unedited shot.
We have an uncomfortably long shot of Charlotte Rae just standing there blinking slowly.
Like she's having a stroke, almost.
It's like, oh God, go to commercial now, go
and cut.
Somebody yell cut.
Oh. Like when she's done, she put her hand on her face, like massaged her face. Like I've been holding that forever.
Yeah, it's bad. So we're watching the DVD of this, of course, and it fades out, and then it immediately fades back into a close-up of Charlotte Rae's chest and her punching her hand in the baseball, the boyish baseball glove that...
Which you have to wonder, Charlotte. Was the irony lost on her? Or was she like...
Punching the glove?
We're going to talk about lesbians and I'm going to punch this mitt.
Punch this mitt,
I'm just going to get my fist in this mitt.
Yeah.
I have to wonder if she was like... The director was like... Told her what to do and she's like... You want me to talk to this girl about lesbianism while I'm punching a mitt?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, okay.
Come on.
Okay. Yeah. And then she says, well, Mrs. Garrett, all I think about are sports. And she says, that's not a thing that girls are into. And Mrs. Garrett goes,
Au
I
contraire.
can think of girls like Billie Jean King, like Martina Navratilova. No, she doesn't say Martina. She names some other, how shall I say, handsome women.
Yeah. Some strong women.
Crap, I started to write them down and I didn't. But yeah,
Nadia
again,
Comaneci.
Nadia Comaneci, who was straight, had an affair with a married man and kind of went off. She was the Lindsay Lohan of her time.
A Romanian. So
yeah, she was Romanian, so
not
gay or European.
feminine.
Yeah.
Probably had a bush the size of a you know, a macrame owl.
Oh dear. So then we talk about, Cindy is like, well, I'm 14. Why am I not into boys? And Mrs. Garrett says, well, my wisdom story. This entire series is going to have a never-ending barrage of bad Charlotte Rae impressions by myself and all my guests. Sure. But hunker down, kids. Yeah. I wish it were better. It is what it is. And it's something like, I remember a time when my mother said, oh, there will come a day when your time clock will start ticking. I'm making the punching movement because you do that when you're Charlotte Rae. And then you'll grow, and I got curvier and curvier. So just give it time, and your time clock will start ticking when it's ready. And I'm not sure that's a positive message.
Why do you not think that's a positive message?
The idea is, oh no, there's nothing wrong with you. It's just the normal part of you hasn't kicked in yet.
Ah, okay.
You see what I mean? As opposed to saying, so what? There are girls who are into sports, and there are girls, and there are some girls. I mean, this was 79. She's not going to say there are some girls who like licking the cooter, and you could be one of them, and that's totally fine. And you'll have no problems over the next couple of decades of your life.
No,
say
that.
I'm aware that's not going to happen. But the idea that there's a subliminal, or not so subliminal message about, honey, you're just not there yet. I don't know how to say it better. The normal part of you will kick in. It's going to happen.
That's a good point. You're going to stop liking sports and all you want to go. Yeah.
And it's like, but no, not all girls do.
But you have to wonder, because when they got the Pop Culture Award on the TV Land show, the TV Land Awards, they gave them the Pop Culture Award, and Charlotte Rae went up there and said, all my girls ended up straight. And she meant like, none of them went to jail. None of them went to jail.
Okay.
But she said, and she's got her finger
meaning
out.
Not
like
different strokes. Where I had a bunch of hooligans.
She's declaring, like, all my girls ended up straight. And you can see the cast behind her, like Jerry Jules behind her going,
Who? I forgot Jerry Jules gay.
Yeah.
I totally forgot that.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll get into that in the...
Season 2.
I think you need... See, I want you here to do all this deep dive at the beginning, but I'm not sure... I'm not sure we could do the Cousin Jerry episode without you here.
Oh.
But anyway.
I'll make a guest spot.
We could do it. I hope you'll be a frequent guest. I hope everybody will be a frequent guest, because I'm afraid I'm going to be doing this alone when I discover I don't have as many friends as I thought I did. Shut your face. Okay, so Mrs. Garrett dispels her advice, and Cindy feels better. She holds the dress up to her and lets her hair down. She's like, oh my God, I do look like a girl. I'm going to be normal. Phew. And then we come back downstairs. And Mr. Bradley comes in saying he's going to have a talk with Cindy, and continues his stammering, bumbling stupidity. And in this one, Mrs. Garrett thwarts it.
But charming. There's no malice in it.
Agreed.
Charmingly.
That's, you know what? That's true. He does not, there's not arrogance or bluster about
like,
Mr. Bradley.
I feel like I remember him being a dick when I think about the first season. But now that I watch that episode again, so I'm like, there was no malice in him.
No, it's true. He was benign. Yeah, he wasn't. Yeah, I'll give you that.
He had a good intention of going over and having a talk to this girl.
To tell her not to lick the cooter.
He was going to make her really hate Dick.
Yeah. And so, since Blair was the instigator, since Blair was the one who started this downward spiral, let me let you explain what happens next.
Well, what happened was Blair is all done up and just gorgeous.
Gorgeous. God damn.
Just if I had looked like her in 1979 when I was 16, Blair would have had 8 kids by season 5. Like, I would have been at the free clinic every weekend.
She is.
No wonder Joe fell in love with her the minute she took her motorcycle hat off. But
now there was an appealing will they or won't they?
There's a very great
Blair and Joe sexual tension.
There's a very great interview of some dude sitting on his couch in LA interviewing Lisa Whelchel, and he's gay and she's lovely.
Though very Christian and Republican, but gay friendly.
But just a real Christian.
Yeah.
Like, and she talks about it on the show.
Yeah.
But he says, can we just talk about Joe and Blair? It was like, you guys were a married couple. And she addresses it, and she talks about it, and she's like, and if that's what people saw, then that's what people saw.
Yeah.
You know?
Sure.
But anyway. So she's looking gorgeous.
She's looking...
And just her pert little 16-year-old titties are just
They are up to her chin.
And just lovely.
And she probably doesn't have a bra on.
Probably not.
Probably not.
Probably had to turn the heat on in this so we didn't get headlights from a 16-year-old.
Chicken's
or
done.
Put Band-Aids over him or something. But she's
and
got
I
this...
want to reiterate, we are 2 gay men, so it is not misogynistic or inappropriate that we are pointing out
I make it very
genuinely
clear.
beautiful she was.
Like, Linda Carter and Lisa Whelchel were the only 2 women I actually, thought about in that way.
See, I never thought about them.
I wanted to be.
I was aware they were
bad.
I was aware that, and I had a Farrah Fawcett poster and a Linda Carter poster,
but I didn't know what it meant to be her boyfriend when I thought these thoughts.
Yeah, you thought you get to do her hair and
we get to hang out and she's gonna spin around and I get to wear outfits.
She could take her clothes off and I could put other clothes on her.
Right, and I could dress her up. But she's just gorgeous.
She is,
and she's
Mrs. Garrett.
Mrs. Garrett calls her a slut.
She basically slut shames her.
It's like the door slams and she's like, "Let's get real, bitch."
Yeah.
She's like, "I'm gonna wreck you, 16-year-old girl." Like,
you calling my little friend a lesbo? Oh no, you did.
Maybe that's why they now ask for people like her in her position to have child psychiatry degrees, because this probably isn't the best way.
Maybe even an associates in social work,
something, childhood education.
From DeVry, we'll take it, but just something. Because she basically
conflict resolution doesn't mean making the other girl feel like a slut.
Exactly. But the technique but you know what? By God, it works.
It was very Andy Griffith show way of doing it.
But what she was doing was she was saying, well, because you're dressed so pretty like that, clearly you're a girl on the move and you do a lot of stuff with. And she's like, I'm not that kind of. And she's like, well, it's all just. She basically is saying, well, Blair, appearances can be deceiving and you shouldn't judge people based on how they appear.
Right.
Because right now you appear like
you're
whore.
Selling your shit.
Yeah. And little boys named David and Matthew would clearly buy it.
And not know what to do with it.
Yeah, exactly. And they are also underage at this point, so it's completely appropriate.
Oh yeah, there were no felonies happening.
This is the 70s. It was the decade of love. So that's her teaching Blair her lesson and putting her in her place. And very quickly...
And in 22 minutes, Blair can hug a lesbian and not feel bad about it.
Exactly. So everything is good. The festival happens. The girls come back. Nope. We now get to see Cindy in her dress looking like a girl, thank God. Mm-hmm. And she is up for the Harvest Queen, but she loses to Blair, which is a nice little... touch of reality.
I was going to say, they couldn't make it.
That would be pushing it,
Which is an interesting thing to me, because, of the 4 girls throughout the whole episode, the whole series, we're kind of taught that Blair's kind of a bitch. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yet, always winning beauty pageants, always winning talent shows, always winning the leading and the star in the show. She's always kind of the most popular girl, too. Why'd they write her to be such a condescending bitch then? Why didn't she a little bit nice?
You know what? In the Trump era, maybe we need to bring back Blair Warner as the symbol for white, entitled...
They're bringing back the Golden Girls.
No. With Lisa Whelchel?
No. The owner, or the OWN network, is retooling it with an all-black cast. And I don't know if it's true or not, but it's
Cicely
been all over
Tyson.
Facebook.
Is she still alive?
Felicia Rashad is Dorothy.
Oh, no. Did we learn nothing from Steel
And I
Magnolia?
don't remember who the other people were, but they're black.
We learned nothing.
And I don't mean to sound like that.
Yeah,
like,
no,
I'm
nothing. There's
that
nothing
they're
wrong
black.
with black.
They're black.
It's the retool. But did we learn nothing from Steel Magnolias with
no.
Queen Latifah?
No, we didn't.
Again, a movie that no one wanted, did not need to be made. Again, nothing to do with the racial component. It's just, why? Anyway, moving on. So why did we get on that? They're remaking Cindy. Oh, and the last bit of it was Cindy goes to Mrs. Garrett and says, well, the boy at the dance winked at me, and guess what? Your time clock started ticking. And she's like, yep.
And you watch that now thinking they're going to talk about periods.
Yeah, you're like, so did you have a Carrie in the shower moment? No, but that's it. And you even said to me, you said, so are they talking about periods?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't think so. I think they just mean about, again, at some point the normal part of you will kick in because teenagers are abnormal and gays are abnormal. So the two often go hand in hand.
It'll go away.
Yeah. It'll just, do its thing. Anyway, so everything gets wrapped up. But I do want to say about Lisa Whelchel, about I think what makes her so appealing as Blair, and the writers did support this. This episode is really a good introduction to her because, like you say, she is the condescending bitch. She is snobby and privileged and entitled. But when the chips are down, the thing is she does have a heart underneath all of that.
Yeah.
And they rarely, I mean, she's not Sue Sylvester on Glee, where you were like, you are an irrevocably irredeemable see you next Tuesday. Yeah. You are a horrible human being. Even in the moments when they try to make you look human, it's like, no, the bad shit you do is just beyond varsity level offenses to humans. And I'm very opinionated about Glee because that's a show I love to hate. But no, and Lisa Whelchel was so appealing as a performer and so goddamn beautiful. So we just love that. They very smartly latched onto that. I think that was a good move, and that's one of the things they did get right in this. As the series progresses, I'm probably going to be like, oh, here's where they start fucking up, Blair.
Well, I feel like she got, even as she got older, like Natalie, she got her own little comic chops going.
Oh, totally, yeah. And and we haven't, you realize, we do not have yet. We do not have the catchphrases. Remember we had What You're Talking About, Willis?
Because they're like, who are we going to give a catchphrase to?
Well, the black girl, because we had Dynamite for Jimmy Walker.
That doesn't come until the marijuana episode.
Is that first season or second season?
Trouble. Yeah.
But we also have Blair. This is one of my, clearly I need to come up with one of my brilliant ideas. Yeah. And Girls was sort of a thing, but that was it. There was just those three. There were no other. But the catchphrases, and it's interesting that I guess maybe they were trying to see what organically would come because, you can't force it. You just can't force that stuff. No. But that, it clearly did happen. They're like, oh, that's it. Trouble. That's the Tootie thing. Yeah. We've got our next What You Talking About, Willis. Yeah. I look forward to my first discovery of that in the future. So the episode is done.
This has been lovely.
Has it been?
Yes.
Is it?
Yes.
Has it been?
Yes.
So, okay. So as a sort of just a quick last thing, you did watch the show growing up in its first run.
How dare you?
And I did too. I'm not calling you out for any age stuff, but
go on.
So it was. I'm just always curious what the show meant to people. So I watched it, and I always say that to me the 70s. Now I'm calling it a 70s show. The 70s were so weird because there were so many shows with women at the helm. We had One Day at a Time. We had Alice. We had Wonder Woman.
And yet this was the first show where the entire cast was female.
Well, we had Mr. Bradley though.
Or the entire lead cast.
Yeah.
Especially in the second season.
Yeah. Once we got rid of
it was the first
that Deadwood
show that ever did that.
Wow.
That didn't have boys.
Huh.
You'll have to have a very special episode about the spin-off attempts. There were 7 different spin-off attempts.
The entire final season is like a barrage
please,
of
somebody...
backdoor pilot. They're like, please, we want the work. We want to stop this show, but we don't want to stop working.
Natalie wants to stop this show, but she's open to another one.
Yeah, I'm going to New York. I'm going to hang out in a bohemian apartment
with David Spade.
And what's his name? The guy, Richard Grieco. Is that the name?
From 21 Jump Street.
Yeah, I think that was Johnny Depp. Is Richard Grieco in that too?
I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
so what did Facts of Life mean to me?
Yeah.
Now this is where I have my Blair moment.
Yeah, have your Blair moment.
I had 0 friends. So my world revolved around TV and my imagination. So I was in my head, every Friday I would get to hang out with my friends. And when it was in syndication at like 10 a.m., I would, if I was sick at home from school, like it was a happiness and a comfort level that I had that I didn't have anywhere else. And like I have a real hard time with final episodes. Like I'm happy that this show didn't really have a final episode.
Yeah, agreed.
And it actually, to me, the final episode was when Mrs. Garrett left.
Agreed.
And so but like I can't watch the Golden Girls final episode. Because
it's devastating.
Especially being so close to B, it's difficult to watch.
Yeah.
But it so it was like it was literally like getting to hang out with my friends.
Yeah. Well, I absolutely feel that. I was the same way. I'm going to go out on a limb and say I would assume you were not a very athletic child.
No.
Yeah, I was not either. And so because typically the boys played sports and stuff in my neighborhood, and I did have 2 friends that were neighbors, but they moved away when I was probably in, second or third, maybe third or fourth grade. And at that point it was like, well, I don't have any other neighborhood friends. I had friends at school, but with their departure, I immersed myself in television. It was the same thing. It was like, it was hanging out with your friends, and it was this thing you could count on, and it involved expanding our creative minds. It was in many ways our education, because we grew up to be comedic actors, and I know so much of my comic timing is watching John Ritter on Three's Company, or even Indy Cohn, or we will find later in this series Mackenzie Aston. He is fucking awesome.
You just had a crush on him.
And I didn't really watch the shows when he was on it. And I was in college at that point. That's really creepy.
Is this when Cinnamon was on?
What?
Remember when Cinnamon was on?
No,
oh my God!
I dread.
Up by this time.
I dread when I have to.
Oh God! The episodes of this covering seasons 8 and 9 are fun.
I know. It's funny. I'm
you have
hunkering
to do
down.
Them all in one season.
I'm hunkering down on season 1. Like this is going to be the slog. I forget 8 and 9 are going to be.
It's going to be tough. Wait till Natalie loses her virginity.
Oh, that one I can't wait for.
To Snake.
To Snake. What was? Oh God. Anyway,
this has been fun.
This has been. I hope it is my intention that you will be back. What's
the outro music?
And so the outro music will be edited in later.
Oh, okay.
And everything. But for now, we can just say goodbye. Thank you, Matthew Arter. I love you, darling.
I love you too.
So that was Matthew Arter. God, he's so fucking funny. He makes me laugh so bad. Thank you so much for listening. Please come back. Share me with your friends. You can rate and review and subscribe it on your favorite podcatcher. You can write to me, comment on social media. The show is everywhere on the internet, and it's all branded under Face the Facts Pod. You have to drop the lets, and it's just Face the Facts Pod. So, website, facethefactspod.com. Email, facethefactspod@gmail.com. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all 3 handles, Face the Facts Pod. Next week, I'm back with Season 1, Episode 2, Like Mother, Like Daughter, with my guest and my good friend, Martin Kunz. I hope you will join me. Thank you so much for listening to this show. And remember, the facts of life are all about you.
Let's Face the Facts was created, produced, written, hosted, and edited by the wonderful David Almeida. Our theme song was beautifully arranged and recorded by Ned Wilkinson. Please visit FaceTheFactsPod.com for supplemental photos and videos, links to social media, and ways that you can support the show. And don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. This is Matthew Arder saying tune in again next week for another thrilling episode of Let's Face the Facts.